Hello and welcome to Spooning With Me, Mark Wogan. We are here in Corrigan's Mayfair in the delightful Lindsay room, and we've cooked up some exceptional dishes for my guest, and they will be trying the food that they love and the food that they say they hate, but they'll be eating it blindfolded. Who is my special guest today, though? There isn't anything that they haven't done in food, quite frankly. They've introduced us to a whole different kind of cuisine. They've won competitions. They've been awarded OBEs. They've changed food in schools. And you know what is really annoying? They're younger than me. So please welcome Thomasina Miers. Would you mind not being such a high achiever?
That's a very nice welcome and introduction, Mark.
Well,
sounds much more impressive than
but hold on. Which part of it's not true, Thomasina?
Well, I mean, thank you. Thank you very much.
I mean, if we go all the way back, so born in Cheltenham,
yeah,
you've got quite a few. It wasn't a small family, was it?
There's three of us.
Yeah,
three of us. Yeah,
family of five, similar to me.
Yeah.
Are you the middle?
I'm right in the middle. Although,
yeah, same as me.
Yeah, right in the middle. Although twin brother doesn't quite count.
Who came out first?
Well, I came out first. How long? 20 minutes is what I say. He reckons it was 10. So
Really?
It's an argument that we have.
Still competing on that.
Still compete on that, yeah. Yeah.
And you were close family, lot of sort of
close and, feisty.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, we first met years and years and years ago when you hadn't long won MasterChef, and you were doing some kind of food demo at Olympia with my dad.
Oh, Terry. Great, Terry.
Do you remember that?
I do remember meeting you.
Yeah.
And also I remember meeting you and then seeing you again just after Terry had done Just a Minute.
Yeah.
Which I listened to once at night, and I laughed so loudly that I woke my husband up, because it was the funniest thing I've literally ever heard in my whole life, was Terry Wogan doing Just a Minute.
Yeah.
It was literally genius.
Because he wouldn't, didn't follow the rules, did he? No. It was like watching it. Did you ever see that episode he did of Never Mind the Buzzcocks?
No.
That's worth looking at.
I will look at. Is that what he's like? Never following the rules?
No. He would never rehearse.
I love that.
So he'd turn up and just go, well, what are we doing here? It was like, and if he couldn't follow it, he'd just do something else.
Love it.
Well, that's what happens. That's what you can do when you become a legend. Now you are on the trajectory to becoming a legend, but you started out at quite a smart school. You went to quite a smart school, wouldn't it? Or a smart person's school.
St. Paul's. Yeah.
I mean, Were you there with any of the other famous alumni?
Well, let's face it. So when I was in the first year, Rachel Weisz was probably in the upper or lower sixth, and we had this kind of balcony around where the girls in the upper years sat, and she kind of stomped down and we'd gaze up, and she was always dressed in black and she always looked impossibly glamorous and beautiful, and I remember thinking she was epic.
But hold on, Misha Barton, Natasha Richardson, Susanna Reid,
Rachel Johnson,
yeah, Carol Thatcher.
Carol Thatcher, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Yeah.
Arguably a bit before her time. Sorry, Carol. But But so none of those people were your contemporaries when you were there, because obviously you went to a school that had a standard. It's known as an academic school.
Yeah.
And so therefore, who of your contemporaries went on to be
like a cook?
Well, no.
None.
No. I was going to say as impressive as you.
So what's so funny about my career is that it's taken a long time to realise this, but I was basically the total dropout for so long, and I kept thinking I should be a politician, a banker, a lawyer, and I just could never never focus on stuff like that, and wasn't interested either. And when I'm not interested in stuff, I'm not very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I watched a lot of my friends basically doing incredibly well, and just thinking, what's wrong with me? Why I'm not? And then actually later on, you think, well, it might have been tricky the first kind of decade or two, decade and a half, very bumpy rides.
You're caught up though.
But it's okay. I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
And actually, as you get to our age, you think doing something you love is basically all you can ask for.
But I completely messed up my teens and early 20s. I was a disaster zone.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe that's
At least
luckier.
you're still doing that, Mark. But there we go.
Well, I mean, ditto. So I feel like maybe it's a better way. You know, if it's too smooth too quickly, then maybe you get the existential questions later on.
But I am picking up a whiff of imposter syndrome off you.
I know people say that before. I think it's I mean, what actually is imposter syndrome? I think we're all
I think
learning.
it's the voice in your head going, "What the hell are you doing? What makes you think you can do that?" Just before you're about to do it, and then you do it brilliantly, but you don't use that as evidence. You continue to ask that question the next time you do something.
So I think I don't think about what I'm doing before I do it, because if I did think about it, I probably wouldn't do it. So what I tend to do is think that's a fun idea and then jump in with 3 feet and great enthusiasm and quite a lot of energy. I think definitely the voice.
Does that energy, sorry to interrupt, but does that energy occasionally drive other people mad?
Yeah, my whole family. And then quite annoying when I burn out, like the Duracell bunny, as my husband always says, Duracell bunny, she's going down. Okay, Houston, we have a situation.
Leave her alone for 3 days. No, but I'm the same.
Yeah.
You know, I try and drag everyone along.
Yes.
And then they're all going, kicking, screaming, going, leave us alone.
Yes.
And then I get them there and they're going, yeah. And I'm going, no, I'm very tired, leave me alone.
I mean, ADHD?
Ooh, ever so slightly.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
So, but you discovered food and an ability with food quite early on. I mean, you were cooking family meals and cooking for people at sort of in your early teens, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, earlier than that, probably. I think basically we had an insecure vibe going on at home. So my mother grew up with a kind of alcoholic mother. She kept trying to kill herself, philandering father. My father's bad at making money. There was just a general sense of like the rug's going to go any second. And I think growing up in that situation, I mean, children absorb things, which you realise later on when you're a parent. You're like, oh, they're absorbing everything here. So I think with food and cooking, first of all, just being next to my mother felt like nourishing, kind of cozy space to be in. So I like to do that as much as possible. I was really bad at playing as well. See, not good at stuff you're not interested, just not very good at that. And then on top of that, the pleasure that people get when you give them good food and that kind of instant feedback, that gratification you get.
Nobody ever hates you for feeding them unless they've got other issues. But that thing of, using food to kind of connect with people. But the other misconception about you, I think, is, posh girl full of privilege.
Oh, yeah.
It was tough growing up for you. You came from a family that was perceived to be sort of upper class, but you had no money.
Yeah, no money. No, I remember the kids at school laughing at me because the trainers I had were covered in holes and they just thought I was scruffy but with a smart accent. Yeah. Killer.
Yeah, well,
killer.
But also I think difficult for your parents having sort of grown up in a certain way and then as adults in their own right, not having any of the money or kind of privilege that their upbringings had sort of afforded them.
Yeah, and I think that gives you quite a kind of an interesting take. So definitely when I grew up, my grandmother particularly who married a Formula One racing driver who was killed at Le Mans. Then she married my grandfather, who's a mathematician and inventor, who was never good at pasting anything. So he never made any cash, even though he was very smart. But she was a model for Norman Hartnell. So she was used, her best friend was the Countess of Warwick. She was used to hanging out in these circles. But then the money just slowly dried up. And so the plaintive of "it's so unfair, we haven't got" was kind of a background to my childhood. And it was quite a shift to realise how lucky I was. because when you grow up with that plaintive, you think, oh, it's really unfair.
Yeah.
And then you really start living in the real world and you think, oh my God, this is so not the case.
But I think it is that thing. It's the same thing for me as the fame thing.
Yeah.
Which is, you're not allowed to say that is difficult or that parts of that aren't fun.
Oh, yeah.
There are parts of being famous that are a bit
Yeah.
You know, you're not allowed to say that.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to.
And it's the same thing, you know, so it's leaving that behind and sort of then going into the world that you went into. Did you find it hard to shake off that?
Well, I think interestingly, I remember when I did MasterChef, the audition, and the producer saying, can we just call you Tommy? And I remember going back, I was slightly kind of apron strings to my parents at that stage. And I remember...
How old were you when you did?
27.
Yeah.
27. And I remember saying, oh, they want to call me Tommy. And my father going, well, your name is Thomasina. And I remember just later on thinking that was such a mistake because everyone calls me Tommy. Everyone knows that I'm a grafter, that I get on with anyone, that because I grew up with no money, I do just get on and just do stuff. And
well, you don't build the business that you built without being a grafter.
Well, also, you know, life is richer if you work for it. I mean, we know that, right?
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, I think having a big name like Thomasina, I mean, I still feel like it's quite long. And I think, you know, I feel like with TV particularly, you're kind of always having to make excuses for that in a way. And probably if I just been more me, which is Tommy, driving my bike around London, you know, wearing scruffy clothes most of the time.
She did arrive by bicycle.
I mean, literally, I couldn't be less kind of stuck up,
no,
really.
You're not at all. And that's what I mean. That's why the misconception about you is that you're kind of this privileged posh girl who sort of swanned into food and won MasterChef and kind of thing. It's like you're a grafter.
Yeah.
And you had a kind of whole life sort of before food. I mean, you know, you studied modern languages at Edinburgh.
Yeah.
You did journalism, all sorts of different
Anything
careers.
and everything I could think of to put some money on the table.
Yeah. But obviously winning MasterChef, and it's that funny thing, isn't it, that people go, she was the first ever winner of MasterChef. And it's like, is it a woman called Janice Boyd or something? Must be really annoyed because she won the first.
Yeah.
She won the first one back in 1990. But it was the rebranding and the sort of imagining of MasterChef. You won that series.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, given the current climate around that, you know, what was your experience on that? Did you experience a Greg Wallace that has been plastered all over the papers, or did you experience something completely different?
I mean, Greg was full of smutty jokes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm incredibly smutty. It was my nickname at university, smutty.
Right.
So, you know, that was kind of, you know, I didn't mind smutty jokes. You know.
And it was a different time, might we?
It was, I mean, look, I have no idea about the dropping of trousers. I have no idea about whether he used his power over people. I definitely wasn't his type, whatever. Never anything untoward towards me at all. John was incredibly nurturing, supportive.
Which
the idea of John being racist, frankly, is so ludicrous. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
And also, I mean, if you looked at what I say to my team in the kitchens today, maybe I would be, because we all are kind of doing constant banter, and most of it's quite rude.
Yeah, but there is that thing where when I'm doing the training modules with the teams at Home Slice, I sort of start by saying, look, I was born in 1970, therefore I don't have a politically correct bone in my body, but I also don't have a discriminatory one or an unkind one.
No, exactly.
So if I say something that upsets you, I'm not deliberately doing it, and if I do, just let me know, but don't feel you've got to walk out the room and try and cancel me.
No. I think
I've got, you know, I'm just trying to navigate, because, you know, I grew up in an environment where you took people on face value.
Yeah.
That's it. It didn't matter whether you were all the way up there or all the way down there, still a human being. You get treated with the same amount of respect. And my parents were quite rigorous about that.
Yeah.
You don't talk down to anybody, and you don't let anybody talk down to you.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
But I don't know, the Darcy, when I saw that about John in particular, I was like, oh, come on.
I felt awful for John. I mean, and also the elegance of his response to it.
Yeah.
How he conducted himself. I think, yeah, I was kind of gobsmacked by John, who was so caring and intent on the people under his watch, under his care. I think he felt that they wanted his care. He could see that people were giving up time and energy, not paying the rent to do this show. And he could tell when people were legit really wanting to do it. I'm sure there are people in it for the wrong reasons, but so many are like literally, and you put your life, you're kind of bearing your soul to television when you're cooking like that. And so it is terrifying. And he really, really watched out for us. So, yeah.
But it did change your life. And
Yeah.
it's changed a lot of other people's lives.
Yes. Yeah.
And my worry is that, and it changed a lot of people's opinions as to who could be chefs.
Yes.
Who could have careers in hospitality.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's amazing. When you look at the lot of winners, lots of them are women. All sorts of different backgrounds, ethnicities, the whole gamut is there. And I think you're completely right. And definitely in my head, I had never thought that cooking was a viable career because we were taught that careers were getting women out of the kitchen. And, you were either like coven tattoos, which obviously we've had a talk about tattoos, desperate to get mine. Maybe I will in my second
I can give you advice.
half of my life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, cooking is such rewarding, or just food in general. The career is vast, whether you're a journalist or a cook or a campaigner or a politician. It covers all aspects of it.
And you've sort of become all of those with the exception of politician.
Yes. I mean,
I suppose the point I'm making is what an important show for food and the industry MasterChef has been, and to sort of drag it and pull it apart in the way that it has been is so sad.
I think also the idea of not showing a show, I mean, I just don't get the purpose. I was on a radio show last week, again, talking, not against, but another woman was giving her point of view. And I don't understand the mentality that you can hurt a viewer if someone I think we are adults in this world, and this kind of weird gloves to be put on.
The other thing is, if you think that either of those men you've made the decision in yourself that either of those men are appalling people, perhaps don't watch the show.
Either don't watch the show if you don't want to see them, or realise that the show isn't really about them. No. It's about the people who are contesting.
And all of those people who did that particular season would have worked their butt off.
I was there. I mean, I judged one of the sessions, and yeah, you put your life on the hold to do those shows. So yeah, anyway.
So you do that show, and sort of overnight, your life changes.
It does change. It changed. Well, I tell you how it changed. Fundamentally, how it really changed was that I had been up my life. What it felt like is I was constantly messing things up and kind of getting to a brick wall, and I couldn't work out what I was doing wrong.
Doing that in my 50s, but anyway, that's a different story.
But I just literally was just like, is it me? Am I just destined to just end up just screwing everything up? And this was the first time that someone said, you're really good at this and you should think about doing this for a career. So I had as much marketing nous as a giraffe, and essentially I remember getting this amazing piece for the Telegraph. They gave me 3 weeks worth of sachet recipes because someone had told them that I'd won. And yet the PR people came, you can't tell anyone. So then I said to the person, I haven't won. I can't tell anyone. And so they pulled it. So I remember having worked on these amazing recipes so hard. And then them oh, you haven't won, so we're going to pull the whole thing. So I had no idea what to do. And I think also my 20s were characterised by real battles with mental health. They thought I was bipolar, I was on lithium. It was pretty tough. And so I was not strong in my self-belief. And so the sense of a media pickup, I suppose, didn't really come until later when I started Oaxaca. Then it was amazing. But in the immediate aftermath, it was kind of, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I did go to Sky. I went and worked at Petersham, and that was really the first time.
You're talking about Sky Gingell for people who don't.
Yes, exactly. Who is an incredible Australian chef whose food is not only beautiful but steeped in seasonality. And the kitchen in Petersham was by the side of a kitchen garden, and where I'd go and cut the radicchios early in the morning.
But also a woman.
Yes.
Also someone who has overcome a lot of demons herself.
Yeah.
And continues to be extraordinary and highly regarded.
Yeah, no, she was an amazing mentor to have. And also, that was after Ballymaloe. So my cooking school had been Ballymaloe, which in itself was a kind of mark in the sand, in that the first recipe you learn is how to make compost. And Dorina Allen, who's the mastermind of it, is,
she's great.
She's great. Bit batty like me.
Yep.
She, it's the whole gamut. It's how your food is grown, where it comes from, how the earth is treated. And that's basically my whole belief system, is that we need to look at the whole cycle of where food comes from and all that. So, you and I stand quite close on that. So I've lost my train of thought completely now.
That's fine. But we will pick it up with, so Ballymaloe Cookery School, which I've only ever visited. I never went there, but it's a kind of weirdly magical place. And it was you fell in love with that part of Ireland as a result of being there.
I mean, I drove a little 2CV Citroen with, the roof that goes back. And
was it a dolly?
It was a dolly.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dolly, my 2CV. I was quite famous for my dolly. I drive very, very fast.
Terrifying car. Probably the least safe car on the road.
Yeah. A lot of fun I had in that car though. I remember when I was at university, I once managed to get 8 people, 2 in the boot, and I drove across the common, which obviously you weren't allowed to do. Yeah. And I did get stopped at the other end of it, but it was quite good fun. Anyway, the Ireland thing, I kind of had this inkling that I was going to love Ireland. There's something about it. And then, I felt so head over heels with that country. There's something a bit anarchic about it.
Well, they're lovely people.
They're lovely.
I might be biased, but they're lovely people.
Also the singing. Everywhere you go, people sing. Music.
It's just a sort of general theme of creativity and artistic intent in sort of everything they do. And the idea that they're all sort of muck savages who can barely string a sentence together is a joke. Most of them, what they're brilliant at doing is hiding their light under bushels.
Yes.
And then they will just subtly reveal it and you go,
wow.
Oh my God, you can do that?
No.
Yes. Well, I was taught as a child and my mother wouldn't let me out of the house until I'd done that. But yes.
There's also a brilliant kind of steeliness, I think, to Irish, whereas, you grow up in England, maybe a sense of privilege.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to downplay everything and desperately try to look like you're not trying hard and desperately try to look like you're so cool and laid back. Whereas the Irish are like, no, I like that. I want it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to work hard. I want to have a great career and I'm going to go for it. And there's something so refreshing about that rather than being just like, oh no, I didn't try at all. And
we're sitting in the restaurant of one of our industry's
greatest chefs,
who also happens to be Irish as well.
Yeah.
And what I always say about Richard Corrigan is, I think pound for pound, he's one of the best cooks alive.
He's incredible.
Because you can hand him any kind of range of products and go, make me some of that, and it will be delicious.
Yeah.
He understands sort of everything and how to get the best out of it.
And it's not primped too much.
No.
That's what I also love about his food.
Yeah.
The respect for the ingredients, which comes out again, which I think in Ireland, also you're closer to, not so industrialised so early on as we are in Britain. I mean, the food culture in Britain is kind of staggeringly bad. When you look at Parliament politicians and their idea of the important things in life and the idea that food is nowhere up there, I find mind-boggling. But in Ireland, you're closer.
Yeah, you are closer. But I mean, just generally, because obviously you have campaigned on many things, but one of the things that you have had success with is affecting the food in schools. And talk to us about how that came about.
So I grew up with not much money, but always care for what we ate. So my mother would buy artichokes in season, and we'd have them for dinner with burnt butter and bread to mop it all up. So
because you could buy artichokes cheap because nobody knew what they were or what to do with them.
Quite expensive these days.
Really expensive.
In those days, they were cheap. So that was a really cheap dinner and delicious. So my mother was very clever at making very humble ingredients really, really seriously good. And then so basically that food culture was very instilled. I think I had a granny from South Africa, another granny from Texas, and both of them had that food culture. So we grew up thinking that food was important and fun, more importantly. So that was always kind of that's basically my philosophy. It's important and it's fun. So then, cut to the chase, I may be thinking about having a family. Am I married? Can't remember. But the local school on my corner, I figured it was being handed over to a new academy. It was the second worst performing primary school in the Greater London. And I must have had a baby at this stage. And I remember thinking...
I think you did, because I remember coming to a fundraiser at it.
Yes. Yeah, probably did. At the stage when I got involved in it, they had this huge playground and nothing was being done with it. And I was kind of obsessed with this rhetoric that we were getting more and more unhealthy, and yet successive governments, Labour or Tory, were selling off playgrounds, and yet they were expecting kids to grow up with a healthy diet and feel great about themselves. That was, with my grandmother being the model, always doing calornetics twice a week, walking an hour a day, but enjoying butter and cream with everything she ate. So that was basically my food thing: eat everything, but run around to make yourself feel good.
Yeah.
And so this idea of selling off the playground. So I did loads of festivals to raise money for the school grounds.
Came down and did pizza.
You did pizza. You were amazing. We got loads of amazing chefs. We had Michelin star chefs. Sky came. Jeremy Lee came.
I like the way you made the differentiation there.
No.
You came down and made pizza, and then we had proper chefs.
No. Your pizzas were like killer pizzas. Killer pizzas.
They still are.
And they still are. Home slice. Yeah, heard that here. So I suddenly realised, though, we were beginning to grow vegetables in the gardens that we'd raised money for, and the school chefs, we were lucky enough in that school to have school chefs. They didn't know what to do with them because they were basically untrained. Yeah. They could open up packets and whatever.
If it arrived frozen, they knew what to do with it.
Exactly. So then Henry Dimbleby at the same time was having this thing where he just was really trying to sort out the school in his primary school in East London, and he'd just done this shout out on Twitter and managed to meet Nicole Pisani, who had been the head chef at Nopi, was a bit burnt out, looking at a career change, and someone put them in touch. And so Nicole had just started cooking at his school. Meanwhile, I was kind of judging an OFM Awards, and one of the winners of the OFM Awards...
Observer Food Monthly, for those who don't know.
Observer Food Monthly was this incredible combo of a head teacher and a Brazilian chef who worked in a kind of special needs school in West London, and they completely transformed this food and eating experience for all these autistic kids, where food is a particularly bad place for autistic kids. And somehow they transformed the diet. And I remember interviewing this woman afterwards, vis-a-vis the problem I was having in our school, saying, what was the turnaround for you? And she said it was all about putting a chef into a school kitchen, because the sensibility, the very core of a chef is about making food look beautiful, about pleasing people, about flavour. That's where they come from. And so Henry and I had dinner. I met Nicole. And then one day we had lunch at Oaxaca. And I was like, I saw him last night actually, and he was teasing about this. I said, come on, we've got to do something about this. Are we all in? Let's start a charity. And Joanna Weinberg was there too, who's an amazing food writer. And everyone was like, yes, let's do it. And Henry wrote to me a week after and said, right, we're having our first meeting. What role are you going to do?
Quite organised, Henry.
Very, very organised. And I said, Henry, I've been thinking about this, and I think if I actually get involved full time in this, I might have another nervous breakdown, because the year before I'd been put on bed rest for a week because I was so burnt out. And I realised that sense that sense, that kind of hackling up my spine was telling me that this might be another thing. I had 3 young children. I had a column in The Guardian. I had the restaurants. I was just doing so much. So I said, I might just backtrack. Can I be trustee? So Henry went off with Nicole and created this incredible charity. So I've been a trustee ever since. But effectively what we do is we put trained chefs into school kitchens and we put food at the heart of the school. And so the school cooks who to date go through a separate entrance, no one knows their name, they're second-class citizen to the rest of the school. The teachers now eat the food because it's so revolting. And the kids fall asleep in the afternoons because most of the beige food they eat, which is ultra-processed, is so carb-heavy that they have sugar highs and lows and then they can't concentrate. So instead of all that, we put a trained chef into school kitchen. They become the heroes. Everyone knows the school team's names. They suddenly, you get these incredible recipes for the Eritrean cooks or the Somalian cooks or the West Indian cooks or the French cooks or the Spanish cooks. And they all start bringing in food from their backgrounds and cultures. And the school kids talk to the chefs about the recipes and they put in their 2 pennies worth. And the whole school transforms into this culture where the kids are eating delicious food. They're eating loads of vegetables because that's one of the ways we balance the books is twice a week we serve vegetable-led food and no meat or fish. And everywhere, what we talk about is delicious, but what the kids talk about is healthy. We never talk about healthy, but they just end up realizing that the food they're eating is making them feel good. They concentrate. But what's more impressive is that we are, I feel like really shift. Our head, our CEO, Naomi, is incredible and the most heroic, incredible woman. With Nicole, they are shifting how the government is finally thinking about school food.
Because you're in 300 schools now.
We're in 300 schools, but more importantly, we have a training programme. And we're saying to all the big contract caterers who on the whole are not selling or not putting very good quality food in schools, it could be a lot better. And we've proven the model. So we've shown people the way. And so we're talking to the big contract caterers saying, look, you can do better for the kids and you can do better on your budgets. And it's not impossible because what so many people say is like, oh, no, we can't do that. Yeah. We don't have the money. I mean, what I'm definitely saying is the government.
But the government need to invest more.
Yes.
This is our future. And genuinely, we talked before outside and about how little support everything around food, whether it is farming, hospitality industry, contract catering for schools and colleges and that kind of thing, how little support that gets at a government level. It's a huge industry. It's a huge employer and it's a huge cash generator that gets no support. All it does is get further rinsed and squeezed and squeezed. Before we reference the great Richard Corrigan, because we're in his restaurant, and before
my tummy's rumbling, by the
way. That's look. I am about to get to the food. I'm about to get. That's what I'm talking about now.
The reason I'm here.
I know. No, you're also here to talk about your new book, Mexican Table. But so what I loved about your questionnaire and how you filled it in was, because you have Thomasina Miers, MasterChef winner, restaurateur, Mexico, blah, blah, blah. There's almost none of that influence in there at all. It's like, and I've got here what you actually love, which is bread.
Oh, yeah.
Bread. And hold on a second. What else have I got?
Oh, I got some Irish soda bread here.
Yeah, Irish soda bread. And we all know Richard Corrigan's Irish soda bread is the best.
And butter.
And really salty butter.
Oh, my God.
Really salty.
Speaking my language.
Handmade butter. Because I
was making bread this morning before I came.
You are a mad bread person.
I'm mad for bread.
Surely the next stage is Tommy's bakery.
I do really want a bakery. I really want a bakery. I'm going to go back to Mexico and work with Richard Hart. He says I can go and spend 2 weeks in his new bakery in Mexico City. I am obsessed with bread. There's nothing as good as a loaf of bread.
And for those who can't see and are just listening, Tommy has put the perfect amount of butter on there. Because as I always say, if you can't see your teeth marks in it, it's not butter.
I agree.
And how good is that bread?
Very good bread.
Almost
as good as mine.
Whoa! I'm going to let you have that out with you. You can pick that fight with Richard. it's black treacle in there.
That's so good. Black treacle. I mean, how delicious. Yeah.
But the other thing
And the butter.
Yeah, the butter. But the other thing that you were quite clear about that you hated was this, which I absolutely agree with you about,
yuck.
which is coconut, in particular in the form of a Bounty bar.
I mean, what is that? That's literally vom.
But it's disgusting.
Yes.
Now, Johnny, the producer, thinks it's the best chocolate bar. And we were having this discussion. Yeah. Johnny loves this, don't you?
You are extraordinary.
Extraordinarily weird. I mean, look.
Yeah, what? How? How is that good?
We were discussing this before, and somebody said, there's always one. There's always one that likes a Bounty bar.
Yeah.
It's Johnny in this case. In my family, it's my brother. He likes a Bounty bar or Fry's Turkish Delight. Also revolting.
Also revolting. Also revolting. It's funny, Bounty bars made me hate all coconut.
Yeah.
For about 4 decades. And then I tasted fresh coconut.
Yes.
And I was
very different.
And I was
desiccated coconut. It's like, why am I eating dandruff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also got that flavour, that kind of like, I don't know what it is. It just, yeah.
But what about coconut milk? You right with coconut milk in
curries?
Yeah.
Yeah, delicious. Yeah, coconut milk curries is incredible. And actually on the eastern coast of Mexico, which is very Caribbean, you get a lot of coconut trees. And so a lot of that food has got quite a lot of coconut in it. And also they do those delicious sweets where you freshly grate coconut and then kind of stew them in piloncillo, which is a kind of unrefined sugarcane. And they get all caramelized and treacly, and they're kind of insane if you've got a sweet tooth. But then the chili, the habanero chili and coconut there's a very good recipe in there for stuffed courgette boats, actually, with a kind of coconutty rice.
There are lots of
and
good
tamarindo.
There are lots of good recipes in here, and we will get to those. But the sort of overarching thing about Mexican food. So we go back to 2007, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you start to develop the idea for Oaxaca.
Yeah.
And you open the first one in Covent Garden in 2008.
Yeah.
And you introduce people to a style of Mexican food that they maybe weren't aware of, which was more of a sort of street food thing. But there are so many different, what people don't understand is we kind of have a vision of nachos, burritos, There are so many different facets to Mexican food. It's so regional and so different. It's like, this whole thing like burritos aren't actually Mexican, they're from Texas. Like, no, there is a whole area in Mexico that do burritos.
Yeah.
They were invented there. They are Mexican.
Yeah.
How do you look at a country like that with the width of food that it has and go, all right, I'm gonna take that bit and I'm going to take that bit, because essentially that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would your kind of purist arses, quite frankly, would go, oh, well, she's homogenized Mexican food. It's like, well, you can't do anything else with it.
No, you can only take one section of it. And actually our food, it's really interesting, it's changed so much over the last 18 years. We're 18 this year. And what's interesting is when we started, we were only street food, because the idea of doing a river cafe version of Mexico when people only knew fajitas and burritos, it was such a leap of kind of knowledge that it felt completely impossible. And besides which, all of the chefs that I respected in Mexico City that I'd kind of met and eaten in their restaurants, they were all inspired by the street food. That's where their food came from. And then they just elevated it. So I felt like Oaxaca had to be on the street. And also there was a kind of democratic idea of, I'd worked at Sky's restaurant where, 18 years ago, longer, a bowl of soup as a starter was £8. That's a lot of money for back then. And I remember, we didn't eat in restaurants. For a special treat, my dad would go on the back of his motorbike to Selfridges and get a steak. And that would be our celebration, because we just didn't eat in restaurants. It wasn't. So I felt, just like in Mexico, everyone eats well. It's not a question of how much money you have. There's a democratization that everyone has a share in the debate, the national debate about food. And so it felt quite important. But then, I mean, it took 10 years before other Mexican restaurants started showing up. I kept waiting. And in fact, it was a little bit irritating. I remember my business partner.
What are you all doing?
Well, like, he was kind of like, when they started opening up, he kept saying, oh my God, we've got competition. I was like, thank God we've got competition, because up until then, the only way I could get new ideas was going back to Mexico. But, you thrive off competition. And if it's just you, you can get complacent. It's competition is good.
But you are here, obviously, to talk about your new book, Mexican Table. And I have thumbed through this book, and there are, things like that I love.
Oh yeah, pisaradière.
Yeah.
That's a proper mashup of flavours.
But I like that. Because that's what we do at Home Slice.
Yeah.
It's like we use the pizza base as a vehicle. And we always say that if all the flavours will go together on a spoon, then they'll work on a pizza.
Yeah.
And that, so we did used to have a pisaradière pizza, which is, caramelized onion, anchovy, and olive.
I mean, delicious. Literally delicious.
Fantastic. But you see,
that's got some smoky chipotle in it.
Yeah, I do like chipotle, and I'm going to cook that, essentially.
Apparently, boiled beans, fastest selling baked bean, has got smoky chipotle in it.
Really?
Yeah, there you are.
But throughout it, there are great recipes. I mean, who doesn't want to cook that? Short rib tacos, anise, ancho, and chocolate.
It's good, that one. Delicious. And I made a pipián for a bunch of Mexicans the night before last, which is a pumpkin seed sauce, or mole. And they loved it. That was good. Making mole for Mexicans.
But also this kind of dish within Mexico, which is, it sort of falls under the Dave Chang ugly delicious sort of.
Very ugly, that picture.
What I love about it is the structure of the book, which is, you just picked 12 ingredients.
Yes. So we went to Mexico last year for 6 months, and it was so incredible to be back there 20 years after I'd last lived there as a home cook, just getting to cook there. Because every year I go there, I eat in fancy restaurants, I go to incredible markets, and then I fly home again. But here I was actually feeding my kids and family. But when you live in Mexico, there's always a market downstairs. It's just the idea that there wouldn't be an access to fresh fruit and vegetables is nuts to anyone in like Mexico or Italy. There's always a food market. Why wouldn't people have access to fresh fruit and vegetables? Anyway, so all this great produce, and I was cooking all this food, and it was so fun. And then obviously I had so many recipes I wanted to write down. And I think it felt to me, Mexican food still feels a challenge to some people. It's quite complicated. It's vast, as you say. The regions change from state to state. So how do you kind of unpick it and make it feel simpler? And, it's got these incredible ingredients. The tomato comes from Mexico, courgettes and pumpkins, cacao, chocolate, chilies. So how can we make it feel simpler?
But what I love is when, you get down that list and you see courgettes. Now, most people, and I would count myself in this until, a number of years ago, a courgette would be the last vegetable I would pick up and cook, because you have that image of either undercooked and horrible or overcooked and watery.
Yes.
But what you can do with it, and what you do with it in the book, is just fantastic, because it just revolutionizes what is most people would think is a sort of it's watery and horrible.
Yeah, yeah. My kids sometimes still do think that.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they're probably quite.
By the way, that soda bread is
which one?
Outrageous.
Your courgette soda bread. Well, we were talking about this before, how if you put a vegetable in something that you wouldn't expect it to go in, the level of kind of moisture and texture it can create is extraordinary.
Delicious. Yeah.
Just think carrot cake, people, and go from there, because you can do a courgette version of a carrot cake.
Yeah, there's a courgette cake in there.
Yes,
so good. It's so good.
But even like courgette dill soup with with oil,
Chili
oil and
Oh my
all
God,
that kind of stuff.
That soup sounds.
I am going to put a blindfold on you now.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
We've got a rather fetching leopard print one, which
It's like a bra.
It looks like a bra, but it's very effective because it won't crush your eyelashes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to put this on.
And it is
Okay.
time for your first spoon.
I like the leopard skin. That's good. Okay.
I'm just going to slide this in. Now, this requires a little trust on your behalf because I am going to spoon feed you.
Okay.
So here we go. I'm going to just get a little element of everything here for you. You don't mind a big mouthful, do you?
No, as long as you don't expect me to speak straight away.
No. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Open wide. What have we got there? Talk about flavors, textures.
Hell yeah.
She likes it, people.
Oh my God, that's good. Salty, sweet, nutty, crispness, wafer, chocolate, caramel. That's really good. And delicious kind of cream, nutty, praline-y, chocolatey deliciousness. Like that.
Good.
What is it?
Well, you can take the blindfold off and look at it then, because you have identified it as chocolate. But it is the chocolate mousse that is on the menu here.
It's delicious.
Corrigan's Mayfair. And it's got sort of praline crumb and then this bit round the side, which is just...
Oh, I love those things. I really want to know how to make those, like dark.
Yeah, because that's so good. But pastry chef here is fantastic. But because you put on your list, chocolate was a big thing for you.
Yeah.
Sugar is a big thing for you. Now, most people would look at you and say, she is built like a racing snake. She couldn't possibly eat sugar, but you do. And that's the whole thing. But I think it's, you either have one of those metabolisms where you, because you are high energy. When you're high energy.
Yes.
So therefore you just burn stuff off.
I do.
And,
yes.
And that thing of essentially being those two people, which you've had diagnosed in the past, and, you know, how often now that you're further down the line, you have some success under your belt, you have a loving family, all that kind of thing. How much of that struggle is there for you still?
So I think what's amazing about getting older is, one, you'll get happier in your skin. So what other people, you don't spend the time worrying about.
I mean, like, for example, you can talk about a serious subject with a leopard print blindfold on your
and
forehead.
You don't give a shit.
No, exactly.
And you literally don't give a shit. I mean, it's breathtakingly fun not giving a shit, actually, about what other people think about you. Because you're like, this is me, it's who I am. I know I'm real. I'm not trying to pretend to be anyone. So take it or leave it. So that's epic to just have that worry off.
But it's funny to see that shift in you, because I think in a lot of ways you have played that shift in you out on social media.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, just the sort of, you know, you're quite happy to just get on there, dance around, make a cocktail and sort of be silly and not care. And you're not...
I am quite silly.
And no, but you get the impression when you're watching those things that you're doing that for you first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, life's short. You can't do stuff for other people. Life's so short. And I think what I love about life is, what I love about what I do, it never stops changing. And but unless you're, look, like you, I imagine you spent a lot of your life also doing stuff where you're just not sure why you're doing it. And that feeling is so bad. And you feel so when you're doing stuff not wholeheartedly, that at some stage you've got to have a reckoning with yourself, and you think, if I'm not into this, why am I wasting the precious years I've got doing it? Now, for some people, it's harder than others, but I have been lucky enough. I did all that grappling in my 20s. I then found something I loved, and I've been lucky and hardworking at it. So, but yeah, I just think doing something you love gives you so much pleasure. But also I feel very lucky, because I think modern day is so intense and so busy and fast, and so much is played out on screens. What I do for a living is very physical. I cycle around London. I stand up. I'm going to the kitchen after this. I use my body a lot, and we are animals, and we feel better when we're in our bodies. And I think a lot of people, you know, go to an office and they sit down for 8 hours a day, and
Or they don't even go to an office anymore.
or they don't even go and see people. We're also social creatures. I spend my life hanging out with people, and it's happy.
But the people who live longer, the people who are happier, are people who are members of thriving communities.
Which is what's so great about restaurants, is we create community, and we are families.
Well, people, I take very seriously the responsibility that people are coming to us for a good time. We are there, you know, hospitality is a verb, not a noun. And people come to us for a good time. So you make sure that your job is to make sure they have a good time. You feed them well, you're nice to them. You don't have to take any crap off them. That's not your job. You're not there to be abused by them. And people have got a bit more difficult and prickly of late. I think post-pandemic, people are
unhappy.
Yeah, people are unhappy. And I think they continue to be unhappy. And then also because of the pressure on the industry,
Yeah.
a lot of people working in the industry aren't as happy as they used to be.
Yeah.
And that is filtering into the customer. So I look, I don't pretend to know how to change it. All I know is it needs to change.
I've got a good idea.
Yeah.
National service.
National service.
Yeah. Every single young person spends 6 months in a restaurant kitchen.
Yes.
It teaches them how to work as teams.
I thought you were going to say go to war there.
It teaches them the importance of teamwork,
Yep.
turning up on time, what happens when they don't turn up on time and let people down.
Yep.
It teaches them that social cohesion, the importance of feeding people. I mean, I just think it'll be the answer to a lot of problems.
Well, I mean, I've done that with friends of mine's kids because, you know, there was a mate of mine, he, you know, he's originally from Liverpool, made a lot of money. He sent all his kids to private school.
Yeah.
And we were sort of talking about what happens to them next as they sort of, in this world of privilege, they go. And I said to him, why don't you send them, rather than giving them a gap year where they go, send them to me for 6 months.
Yeah.
They'll work. They will work with people from all walks of life, and they will serve people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And then whatever they earn, that's what they get to spend on the 6 months where they loaf around and do nothing before going to university.
So true. And I also think what I particularly love about restaurants is what you just said, is the service. So me seeing that maybe you wanted, you know, a bit more water, or are you comfortable, or like, my job is to make, just as if people come into my house and I'm feeding them, you know, should I shut the door? How are you doing? Are you having a good time? That's such a thing of humanity, where as a human being, I'm looking out for you and you're responding.
Well, you know, I talked about doing those training modules before, and I start those by putting the Oxford English Dictionary definition of hospitality up on a screen.
Yeah.
Because it uses words like kindness, generosity, a warm welcome. You know,
Exactly.
It's like, it's not hospo. I work in hospo.
Yeah.
It's like you give hospitality.
Yeah. I like also the definition of food, which is a natural substance used to give nutrition to someone, which I think big food companies should look at.
Kind of lost sight of that. Now, I am going to ask you to don your blindfold again, because it is time.
Is it going to be nasty, or is it going to be nice?
Well, look, I mean, look, this is the whole reason I don't want any preconception.
Has anyone ever spat stuff out at you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've had spitters, we've had pukers, we've had all sorts.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my
But,
God.
you know, we challenge perceptions.
Okay.
You know, so it is time to challenge your perception with this magnificence here. And this one is...
Is it pastry? Is it pie?
It's not pie.
Oh, I love
but
pie.
It's coming in. And it's not on a spoon this time. So here you go. Oh, you like that? Good. Do you know what that is?
It's a dip
Yes.
of some sort.
It's a dip of some sort.
It's got chili and garlic.
Yes.
Delicious. What else it got?
You know, recognise it at all, do you?
Is it from my book?
Yes, you did.
It's a white bean garlic confit dip
Yes!
with charred jalapeno oil. Mm.
Is my interpretation of it up to scratch?
It's
Oh, great one.
delicious. Holy that's good.
Good.
Oh my
Take
God.
the blindfold off.
Mm.
And I served it as per.
That's so great. I can't believe you made that.
Yeah. Now, I did something else with this during the week, and you can have this for your next book.
Okay.
Because you know what I did?
That's so I love that you made that.
Um,
You're such a dude. Thank you.
but it's a great recipe. I was flicking through, I went, you see, I love that because it's the charred jalapeno that appealed to me, because we have a jalapeno salsa on a 4-cheese pizza, and we char the jalapenos in the wood-fired oven before making your salsa.
Smoky.
Delicious. But what I did with this, the minute I tasted it when it was finished, because I made 2 batches of it, because I always overcook everything. So if I see a recipe, I go, well, I'm doing double that.
Oh yeah.
I can't help myself.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So what I did was I let the puree down with a bit of chicken stock, right, and served it as a base with a seared scallop and the oil drizzled over the top, and it was phenomenal.
That sounds incredible.
Lily caramelized scallop, that sauce, that you essentially turning the white bean dip into a sauce, and then the drizzle of the jalapeno oil over
That's
the top.
speaking to me.
Because what I loved is that jalapeno oil has got just the right amount. You know, the measures you've put in, it's got just the right amount of kick to it.
Yeah. It's not going to blow your brains out, but it's got that lovely.
It's got a lovely dance and warmth to it, but also that, you know, it was so long since I'd confit any garlic, and I was sort of like, oh my God, I missed that flavour. So it was just nice, and then it sort of inspired me to do some other stuff with it. So there is a massive vat of that in my fridge, and I've actually made a litre of that.
That will last for a long time.
Yeah. Your book is out now, is that correct?
It's definitely available for it's out. It's pretty much out. It's out.
Just go to your bookstore or the online salespeople and buy Thomasina Miers' Mexican Table, 12 Ingredients from the Heart of Mexico. It is a great book. There are some great recipes in it. And I wish you every success with the book. I wish you every continued success in life. When you become the Minister for Hospitality, I will be hopefully still have your mobile number and be able to call you up and say, can you change this, please? But there's no stopping you, and I hope you don't stop anytime soon. That is all for this week on Spooning with Mark Wogan. If you like what we're doing here, just search Spooning with Mark Wogan across all your social media channels, and you can find us on the Virgin YouTube channel and see us in glorious Technicolor. Big thanks to the team here at Corrigan's and the use of the Lindsay Room. And until next week, stay beautiful.